It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. If this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, a huge welcome. The Divas That Care is now in its 12th season, and we are listened to in over 30 countries around the world. So thank you guys all so much for being a part of this journey with us. I am really excited today. I'm going to be welcoming back one of our amazing divas, Shanda Golden. And this woman is absolutely fantastic. And she's actually brought on one of her friends, Sean, and I'm excited to get to know her also. So welcome to the show, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, I am very excited about today's program. I know what we're going to be talking about. But before we dive into Safe Embrace, would you ladies mind introducing yourself to our new listeners?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Candace, thank you so much for having me back. I always love doing your show and connecting with your audience. My name is Shanda Golden, and I'm the founder of Golden Tampon here in Reno, Nevada. And, well, it actually helps with Washoe County, so it's all of Reno, Nevada, Sparks. And what Golden Tampon does is I collect, it's a drive, it's not a non-for-profit, but I collect tampons for women in transition in our community, so homeless women. And I do not distribute on the streets. What I do is I partner with a shelter. And in 2021, I partnered with Safe Embrace. And Safe Embrace is a shelter for women that are victims of domestic violence. And that's why today I wanted to bring on Afshan, who is amazing, and she's the director here at Safe Embrace.
Hello. So my name is Afshan West, and I am the executive director for Safe Embrace. Safe Embrace is a nonprofit organization in the Reno Sparks area. We provide trauma-informed and compassionate supportive services focused on education and empowerment. We were founded in 1994, and we were donated a house for our shelter in 2001. Ever since then, we've just been committed to ending the cycle of violence through prevention and education efforts through our various programs.
Well, this is amazing. Well, welcome to the Divas That Care, ladies. We are very excited. We love hearing about amazing programs like what you are offering and what you are doing in the Reno area. Let's talk a little bit more about your amazing shelter. You said it started in 1994. What type of programs what kind of things do you guys do at the shelter so that maybe some of our listeners in other parts of the world might understand a little bit more about it?
So, basically what it is that it begins with a call. Someone, either walks in or it's a call to our 24-hour crisis line 7 days a week. And from that point on, we bring them into our office. We do an intake. And based on, if they're a victim of domestic violence, sexual assault, sexual violence, human trafficking, our goal is to get them immediately funneled into our emergency protective shelter. And from that point on, they're assigned an advocate. One of the many things that we're actually proud of, I'm proud of, is the fact that we have a on-site pet shelter at our emergency shelter. So basically, if someone is fleeing a violent situation at home, for whatever reason, they can bring their cat, they can bring their dog. It doesn't have to be away from them. They can leave with their pet. So that is actually something that I think is important to a lot of people. We've had guinea pigs. We've had we've had all types. We've had ferrets. We have the facility on site, so the victim's pet is right there with them as they flee the whatever violent situation they're fleeing. They can bring their children because we have a kids club. We have a kids club that has computers. We have a kids club assistant, meaning that they will receive educational, informative groups. They get to hang out. There's a play structure. They get to be kids again. And so our shelter is they can stay at our shelter for up to 90 days. A lot of our clients, they actually, because this is our goal, that they don't make it till 90 days. We want to get them into housing. We want to get them on their feet. And so then the next step is that we help them with their resume. We get them find a job if they don't have a job. We make sure that we help them find housing. We are also funded heavily through HUD. So we provide transitional and rapid rehousing for our victims. So even in today's market, which is insane as far as housing, we make sure that, we get them, if they have children, they are zoned for a good school, and they have access to new friendships, new experiences, something as simple as, standing at the bus stop every morning, waiting for your school bus to come and making friends at the bus stop that I think most of us took for granted. That experience for a child who's been a victim of domestic violence, it's so rare, and it's so important for them to have that normalcy back in their lives. And so that's pretty much, in addition to that, we also, Safe Embrace offers legal advocacy, which is free to the community. Anyone can walk in and ask for help with, protective orders, which is temporary restraining orders. We will help them through the process. Our advocates, who are free, will go to court, education, and outreach department. So here in the Reno area, which is located in the state of Nevada, gambling is legal. And so one of the things is that the prevalence of sex trafficking, the prevalence of, just abuse in general, human trafficking, is very high here. It's all around us. So what we do is we actually our outreach education program goes to different casinos and different restaurants, and we train the bartenders, we train the servers in looking for signs of, human trafficking, of someone who is being perhaps, abused, and they're afraid of speaking up, and doing in such a manner so then it's not obvious to the perpetrators, the abuser, and to try to help the victims of violence in any way, shape, or form. So in a nutshell, this is pretty much what we do. It's a lot, I know.
Wow. I'm just listening to you, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. I'm like, you guys are extraordinary. And I just kind of want to dive back a little bit, even when you had said that you have a pet shelter. I think a lot of our listeners might not understand pets are a part of your family, and people sometimes don't leave a situation because that's what they're scared of, is leaving the animals behind because they are so attached to them. And for you to have something like that on top of, your kids' programs and having this program that's a 90-day, I'm just blown away. And plus the outreach stuff and getting into the community and teaching. Oh my gosh, Shanda, I know why you joined them. I'm blown away.
Candace, I lived in a shelter when I was growing up. My mother was married to a violent man. And so I have a firsthand experience of, living in a shelter, what that's like, what domestic violence is. In the shelters, one of the things that was really important, which I love about Safe Embraces because they do offer therapy, is that as a child, we were taught how to break the cycle of abuse. And so going forward in my life, I was able to recognize what an abuser was, and I never, my husband adores me, so I'm not married to an abuser. Mm-hmm. But I think that's really important, and that's something that Safe Embrace shares with me, the importance of catching it early with the kids and making sure that young people, children and teenagers, they understand that this isn't normal stuff, and that they can break that cycle. So I love that about Safe Embrace.
Well, I'm just blown away. I think that this organization sounds extraordinary.
It is.
And I think what I like about it is that when we're speaking about it today, I really want to share this so that other places can learn about it so that they can maybe implement the things that you are doing to help their shelters and their organizations out too.
Yes. Absolutely. And AppShon's great. Everybody's here to help others. So, of course, that's something that we would want to do, right? Because we want to break abuse, the cycle of abuse. Yes. We want it to stop. We really saw the numbers go high, and I don't know how it was over there in Canada, but the numbers were through the roof in Washoe County during when we sheltered in a place in 2020. And that's what really got me going, because we had collected as a community so many tampons and pads for the women in our homeless shelter here that it was time to kind of move on. and unfortunately, it was horrible timing because everyone in the world was affected by COVID. But for me personally, it was perfect timing to move on to an organization that was close to my heart, and certainly that was Safe Embrace, having that lived experience, right? And so now we have so we collected last year like 3,500 boxes of tampons and pads, and going forward for 2022, Golden Tampon will not be doing a drive because it's just not appropriate with the economy the way it is. I just feel like, we have so much. And so I chatted with Afshan and about it, like, let's go ahead and get into where our storage is and let's share those tampons and pads. So that going forward for 2022, that's what we're going to be doing with our partnership. Is we're going to share with other organizations in town. Mm-hmm. And so, and then the other organizations were like, oh my God, yes, please, we need tampons and pads. So it's great. It's a win-win for the community. For everybody. And we're just, for everybody. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's absolutely extraordinary. Sure. When you and I had first met, I was blown away by everything that you were doing and how you really were inspiring so many people. And I love the collaboration when organizations can get together and really help one another. Like, I always said that's why the Divas That Care is all about also is finding those collaborations and how we can help one another work together. And I want to kind of talk a little bit about, you were mentioning human trafficking. And it's something that we have talked about quite a bit on this program. And we've seen quite a bit an increase in that in the last couple of years too, because of everything that's going on, obviously, around the world. And how is that affecting you guys there?
So this is Afshan. So I'll just speak on behalf of what we've experienced. Is, and again, to emphasize the fact that, where Reno is located. So Reno is located at the it's called the I-80 corridor, which is a major freeway that cuts through the United States. And so we're a big truck stop too, because we're big truckers and everything. So what we realized in the past decade or so, it just made the area here, Reno, the state of Nevada, a central point of sex trafficking. So it's young women who are either coming from, from different parts of the country that are being trafficked through our state. So that's why it's really important to educate the hospitality industries because it is a stop where people do stop. They either spend a night or they grab food. It could be a 12-year-old, 13-year-old who perhaps is too timid, who's not speaking, and that person does not look like her dad or her uncle, or is even remotely related to her. Or it could be a group of young women who are being fed at a restaurant, or they're spending a night in a hotel or a motel to educate our young, because typically think of it this way: who usually works at serving positions? It's young people, right? Typically. So the thing is that, they may not be that finesse. They may not have the awareness. They may not have the education to figure out what's really going on in those types of situations. So that's where Safe Embrace and our outreach and education program comes in, because we do go out and we spend the time educating them on all the signs, and it could be something as simple as someone just making an eye contact with you and just looking away. And, or looking down and not making eye contact with you. And you're just like, okay, well, that's not normal. Because that person looks like they're, just my age or younger, or they're my little sister's age. And why aren't they acting like a normal 13-year-old or 14-year-old, right? So that is something that I'm super proud of, because, and I love the fact
Thank you for
that
doing
we do that here. Of course.
Oh, it's extraordinary. And that's exactly it. It's that education and showing people and teaching them to look for those signs. And I applaud you. I've heard so many stories. I've had amazing women on our program that have shared stories, and it's really heart-wrenching. And when there's organizations like yourself that are out there that are, teaching and trying to promote this, I applaud you, and thank you so much. That's all I can say. Just thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having us on your show, because, again, for me, in line with education and awareness, and I know that you're based out of Canada, but it's just awareness, I mean, that's global. Just to be aware, to have that around you. I mean, I know that, yes, Shanda and I, like, we're doing this here in Reno, Nevada, but sex trafficking is something that's occurring all over the world. I was just reading something about, as far as with the war in Ukraine, there was a lot of instances of children being smuggled out. And, so and again, and we don't know what's happening with them. And I don't want to get into that because that's a heartbreaking topic, and as it is. But we can do something about, within our community. So for you, where you're based out of, and all of your listeners, wherever they might be, just to perhaps for them to reach out to their local agencies and say, hey, how can I help? Can I be an advocate on your part? Can I, because it seems like just, again, I know this is just our first time meeting, but, Divas That Care, I love it. I mean, yes, be a diva, but be a diva that goes out and makes a difference. Just own your power and use your power to do good. And I really, really love that whole, the entire premise of that. So no matter where your listeners are, for them to know that it's occurring in their community as well. And just for them to be mindful, to be aware, and find the agencies, find the people. It may not even be an agency. It might just be a couple of retired, military guys who are like, no, we're going to go out and help, these young women. Because sometimes it's just that type of an operation, but they're making a difference. So I appreciate you bringing awareness to the topic. Thank you.
Oh, it is my pleasure. As I said, I love how we can get this awareness out, and we are big supporters of anything that we can do. We will always be there to support organizations like yourselves and other ones around the world, because you know what, we need to be there for one another. All right, so ladies, what is next with you? You've got a lot of things that are happening in the pipeline. Is there anything that you want to share with our listeners today?
Well, just that we're going to be going forward soon with that tampon drop off, the distribution of that. And then also we have a big gala coming up that Afshan's going to tell you about. It's going to be super fun. I'll be there, and I'm going to be the diva that looks fabulous that night.
Well, which is fantastic. Well, we love having Shanda be totally glammed out, because she is definitely a diva, and we love having her on the board because it adds that the glam element to such a sad topic as what we do, our mission. But so we have on June 11th, we have our next big fundraiser coming up. It is called Hot Havana Nights. So basically, we are going to transform our venue into Havana, from the cars to the hand-rolled cigars to, because this is, again, this area, it could be hit and miss with weather. So we made it into an indoor-outdoor venue. So dancing, so we have a dance company coming, and because I can tell you that I have two left feet, so salsa and bachata are lost on me. But so they're going to come in, and they're going to basically give dance lessons to anyone who wants to learn. So Latin music, cars from 1969 and earlier, just Havana in Reno, Nevada. So and the goal of that is to raise unrestricted funds for Safe Embrace, for our victims, for their families, because we are so heavily grant funded by the government that it is nice to have a little bit of leeway by throwing these little events that end up just bringing in the unrestricted funds, so we can do more for our survivors and make them. It just goes, more of it goes towards making them whole again. That's all.
Oh, I love that. Wonderful. Well, it sounds like a fantastic time. I wish I lived closer so that I could go to it myself. So what can our listeners do to support you more?
Well, they can go onto the website for Safe Embrace, www.safeembrace.org, and they can go on there. There's a place where they can donate and then learn all about the great things that we're doing to help our brothers and sisters in the community here in Washoe County.
And also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, just because social media and the importance of that, and just again, look at what we're doing. Follow us and see, and perhaps find ways of emulating that within their own communities. Because sometimes again, it just takes awareness, and again, for us, for me, it is really important to collaborate and to have that mindset where we're all helping one another instead of competing against one another. So the more, again, educational awareness, please, it would be such an honor if there is another city, another organization that wants to copy our program or reach out to me directly. My information is on the website because, you know what, I would love to share what we're doing because, you know what, the more the merrier.
Mm-hmm. I love that. You guys are so inspirational. I love it. You both have to come back on the program again because we would love to share anything that you want with us.
Oh, thank you, Candace. It's always such a pleasure. We're so honored that you would take the time and your listeners would be interested and hopefully engaged to help within their communities. And again, go to www.safeembrace.org. We're on all the social media platforms. So they want to get involved, you can do that. And please get involved in your own communities too, because we can, as a community, stop the cycle of violence. It's working together.
Exactly. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on to the program today. I really appreciate both of you. And as I said, I would be honored to have either one of you or both of you back on the program to talk about any type of topic. The Divas That Care, that's what we're all about. And I love having amazing guests like yourself on our show.
Thank you. Well, we'll come back and tell you about Hot Havana Nights. How about that?
I would love to hear more about that. All right. Well, thank you again so much. And thank you to all of our amazing listeners that have been tuning into us for the last 12 years. This is why we do this program, guys. I love hearing about amazing organizations like Safe Embrace. I love talking to amazing guests. So make sure that you guys pass this show on to each and every one of the people in your lives. You never know who it's going to affect. As I said, like, share, comment. The more we can get it out there, the better. Again, thank you to my amazing guests. Thank you to all of our listeners, and please, please do something kind today. Until next time, everyone.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.